Hey kids, John here. Wanted to talk about tuning up the practice session. You may be asked to do tonguing exercises, technical exercises, range studies, slurs, etudes and solos, jazz improv, work on literature, and a multitude of things. 8 different things may be on your list to study. I'm not advocating when I talk about 20-minute sessions, taking each of these things and playing it for 20 minutes. Because that'd be 8 times that you have to find throughout the day to play your trumpet. You may not necessarily have that. So when I talk about smaller sessions, I'm talking about anywhere between 5 minutes and a half an hour. You might be able to find 5 minutes before you go into your next class, whatever that may be, especially if it's a instrumental class where you're playing band, orchestra, jazz band, whatever. You sit down for 5 minutes and pull out one of the exercises you're supposed to be studying, and for that 5 minutes before class, work on it and check that off the list. What you're going to have to do is understand that you have priorities, short-term goals, and long-term goals, and you'll have to set up a practice session based on those. If you're being asked to play range studies from 3 different books, realize that you don't have to play the same 3 books in one setting. You can alternate days and work on these different days. It's a great thing with range studies is you can cover range by taking your scales and playing them throughout all your register into your extreme register. And you can tongue these scales and you can slur these scales. You can cover a lot of bases very quickly with range studies combining with chord studies that you're working on for improv or scale studies that you're working on for playing trumpet, arpeggio studies, slurs, working on your slurring. It can become a range study as well. So you can take a few of the basic technical things that we study and turn them into 2 exercises at once, and that is to play these things into your extreme register. So take advantage of the idea of turning a tongue study into a range study and cut down on the amount of time you have to work on both because you're combining them. And remember, practice into the upper register, completely different each day. It's like cross-training, and when you look at bodybuilders, they're hitting a muscle group with different exercises to challenge that muscle differently. And that's what we need to do as trumpet players when looking at the upper register. So, part of your success can be combining exercise. The other part of the success that you're going to have is understanding what's maybe your weakest thing or what you have to get done immediately. What counts? Where's the money? So you work on that maybe for one full 20-minute session, but I wouldn't necessarily beat myself up for more than 20 minutes on one particular thing. Realize that you can take the smaller stuff and spend 5 minutes, 5 productive minutes will do amazing things. That's about the same amount of time between TV shows. Again, if you're watching TV, have a mute. Practice in between those commercial breaks. But when you're looking at a list of 8 things, realize that you're not necessarily going to get to all 8 things in a day. You might be able to spend 5 minutes on 3 of them throughout the day, and then 20 minutes, 3 20-minute sessions. So now you've got 6 items that you've covered. So look at your time very carefully. Figure out how to squeeze in 5 or 10 minutes here or there, and then realize that you may have to alternate days on certain studies, such as an etude today, the solo tomorrow, etude the next day, and alternate back and forth between the sessions that you're doing. Build a long-term schedule and you'll have better success. Don't try and do everything in one day. As they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will you become a great trumpet player in a week, no matter what you're trying to accomplish. Remember the long-term goal. Alternate and build that schedule to the maximum. Take it easy, kids.